works for me. It works for me. I am very excited today to have Milly Albers join us on the podcast. Milly is this glorious human being who works in branding and marketing, and I met you through a wonderful dinner, and we've had some fantastic conversations, and I'm looking forward to exploring that further with you today. Milly, tell us what you do and a little bit about you.
So much, Kate, for having me on your excellent Huddle podcast. So yeah, I'm Millie. I'm the managing director of Muleco, which is a branding and marketing agency here in Adelaide, and we work a lot with purpose-driven organisations. So a lot of healthcare, disability, non-for-profits, very value-driven leaders and organisations. And yeah, absolutely love it. I run it with my husband, and so yes, husband and wife little team works. It's fun.
That's fantastic. So it's a little family business as well. Yeah. And I love that it's values driven. That's huge. A lot of heart. I love that.
Yeah.
So tell us about your leadership journey. I understand that this started in San Francisco, not here in little old Adelaide. Can you tell us more about that journey?
Yeah. So a wild journey back in, my goodness, I think would have been 22 when I was asked to be part of a founding team, first in the Netherlands. So it was a tech startup in the Netherlands. And I was part of the founding team. That startup won Start of the Year 2 years in a row. It was great, fun. I got right into this exciting world of startup land. And then I was asked to move on to actually become a CEO for another startup that was based in San Francisco. And at the time, I was just doing some graphic design work, and the existing CEO asked if I wanted to take it over because he wanted to start a family. And, you know, full-time in a startup, starting a family is tough. So I had absolutely no idea what really even a CEO was, no idea about fund, nothing, team or anything. I think I was 24 at the time, but it just sounded so exciting.
Yeah.
So I just said yes, and yeah, went into it, and all of a sudden had a team of, it was about 10 of us, San Francisco, and it was essentially, but there was one problem with this startup actually. The original CEO, I wasn't fully aligned with what he had created. It was a group messaging app that targeted at drunken college kids, it seemed, and it didn't really align with me at all. So the graphic designer and I at the time, we turned it around completely and created Boomcast, which was a story sharing platform, helping people outcome loneliness, getting people all together, getting people out of this superficial world of Instagram and Facebook that we were seeing at the time to a more authentic, story-driven platform. And it was fantastic. We had like Jay Shetty. I don't know if anyone knows Jay Shetty. Before he became big, Jay and I used to be Skyping back in the day. Organizations like change.org partnered with us, Rockefeller Foundation. It was like literally a matter of anyone who wanted to do good and inspire and be the change. It was like, hey, do you want to join this platform of changemakers? Let's just jump on and see how far we can take it, and, you know, just get out of Instagram and Facebook and do something that's really a bit more meaningful. And people was like, yes. Like it was so easy just to knock on doors, send out those emails and connect with people on LinkedIn. It was a fantastic, wild ride. But unfortunately I was still so young, absolutely had no idea how to really run a business. And it had its challenging parts like any business does. And eventually moved back to Adelaide, and it all just fizzled out. But it was such an amazing experience. I just loved it.
What did you learn from it?
I learned it was about, number one, I think the biggest lesson I learned, like the original intention for this business did not sit with me at all. So I really learned that, hey, it's okay to completely change something in order for it to really sit in line with you and with your values. So that was like number one. And to not be afraid to make that change, to just go for it. Number two was to just surround myself. This is something I did. It was okay. Just surround yourself with creative, intelligent, clever people that were just so in line with, you know, understanding exactly what that business was all about. And I think number 3 was to really not be afraid to just put yourself out there, knock on those doors and be proud of what you were doing. Yeah.
And does that play out now in Muleco?
Yeah, do you know, it's so interesting. Like this was about 10 years ago. And I find it really interesting how life, there's always been like an 8 to 10 year cycles where things start to, you see patterns. And so I'm about to enter a new startup again, an AI company, which I can't believe I'm doing. But I'm going back to this like 10 years ago. I'm like, okay, what were some of the things that I was learning back in the day to bring into this, to do it all over again, but with 10 years plus experience. It's really, really fascinating. Yeah.
I love the idea of just going for it, but also it sounds like this is about nurturing people and doing good deeds and wonderful things like that. It must have been really exciting, like to be involved in thinking like that. Was it hard to control it, or were some of the challenges because it got too big? Like, was it hard to be niche?
Because it definitely, like, there was, the imposter syndrome kicks in, and I didn't even know that existed at the age of 24. I didn't know it was a thing, but at some point, it starts. And to be honest with you, that's, I think, a lot of the reason why it did fizzle out, because it started to get so big that my little soul at the time, I think I was a bit too fragile to be able to.
Yeah.
That I guess the fear of being so successful really freaked me out, that I didn't think I'd be able to handle it. So it was a really interesting exercise. And I think I did hear that once, that one of our biggest fears is that if something becomes too big, that we're not going to be able to handle it. So that was an interesting insight there.
Yeah. That would, I think when you think about branding, it's also who's your target, like having some constraints around it. Is that right? Like being really clear. I mean, doing good deeds is something that fills my heart with joy. But it's always like, what does that look like? So tell me more about now, because now you're working in branding and marketing around not-for-profits and, again, values-driven work that you do. Can you tell us sort of how do you build trust? What does that look like? And how does your previous experience now impact what you do?
Yeah. So I think a lot about trust. Like, I think obviously any business organization, no matter what we're in, we all want to be able to demonstrate that we are a trustworthy organization. That is, like, almost comes down to number one. And how you do that, I think a lot of that is to do with storytelling and just bringing people on with you, and being so real, and from an identity lens, showing real photos. I see so many organizations that are using those fake stock imagery, and that's a really, really simple, easy one to be like, okay, how to build trust, just showcase the whole team, your real clients, great photos. I think, Kate, you and the team do that really well in the Huddle. I love how you really showcase all of that. I think being honest, transparent as well is a big one. Know what you can and can't handle, know what your capabilities are. So you're not, I think that's something that I know for us with Muleco, we've learned some of the hard way. Like, you think you can do everything in anything. Yeah. And so you say yes. And at some point, like, actually, no, we can't do everything in anything. You got to know your niche, and you got to know what you're good at and communicate that with people.
Yeah. It does build trust. In the work that you're doing, are you building trust with clients or people, investors, or who are you building? Who's your audience?
Yeah, so our audience, so if you look at Muleco, a lot of it, we work with executives, marketing managers, founders. That's kind of who we're working with a lot of the time, and I think that's how we're building that trust, is a lot of that communication, sharing our capabilities, going above and beyond. Like, we're always over deliver. We're a bit more on that over deliver side than the under deliver. And then looking at, from an investment point of view, like, for example, new startup that I still haven't officially committed to yet, but I keep talking about it. So I think that means I might need to commit to it. And that is just being, again, so honest and transparent with how I'm feeling, where we're at, who I'm talking to. And I think that's even just communicating right now that I haven't even fully made that commitment. If I am making a startup, this is the type of communication that I'm having with potential investors and potential founders. Like, look, this is where I'm at. This is the conversations that I am having with people. This is who said yes, but this is who I'm still working with. And that's, yeah, it's interesting. Like, I remember one of my business mentors from startup days was an American guy. And he always said, like, oh no, Millie, you just got to fake it till you make it, and you will get there. And it's like, it just, yeah, it may work well in that startup scene, and it may, but that fake it till you make it is just, we're all very smart, intuitive human beings, and we can sniff any little fakeness or BS from a mile away, especially with, AI, getting bigger and bigger. We know it's, it's interesting.
Fantastic. And so that makes me think about leadership
Mm-hmm.
and authenticity in leadership, because I think for so many leaders, I constantly say this, but I think so many leaders end up in leadership because they're really good at something else.
Mm-hmm.
And, and we start a business and we need people to work with us and to help us create what we need to create. And we can very easily focus on money or outputs or KPIs or whatever. And that authenticity and taking people along the journey with us is so important. How have you learnt your leadership skills? Like, how did you become the leader you are?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think, like, when I was even, a lot of time you go back to how you were as a kid, like what type of individual you were as a kid. And I was always the shy type, super, super shy type. I always categorized and labeled myself as the shy kid, but actually I was just the kid who listened. And I think that is part of my leadership style, is I actually, no, I'm not the shy one. I'm the one who just listens. And that's a big part of it, obviously, is being able to listen to others. And yeah, I think there's another quote as well that always, a bit of a motto that I've always stuck to no matter what. And that is, don't hate, create. So anything that it just is bothering you, or something that you just, oh, I wish I could change that. Oh, I can't stand how this product is made or how that service is run. If you could create it and change it, what would it be? And I think that's also obviously a style of leadership, falls a bit more into that, entrepreneur type leadership category, but to not just settle with, yeah, that's okay. And to actually create something, do something that is what you're wishing was there.
I love that. Don't hate, create. I mean, how many team members sit there and can tell you how bad things are?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can work with almost any team and I can ask them two questions. And one is, what's working well and what are the challenges? And what's working well is usually this very small list of things that are working well. And the challenges look like this, it's this long, long list. Oh, and where do we start? And it's really interesting because the more you focus on whatever, you get more of it. And so if we focus on the creation, so what do we want and how do we get there? I love that. Don't hate, create.
Yeah. It's such a simple one. It's so simple, but you can apply it to anything and everything that frustrates. Yeah.
No, I think that's, so your leadership, it's intuitive. I mean, I think this is the reality for most leaders. It is intuitive. We learn how to lead. It's a bit like parenting. You can read every book on leadership. You can read every book on parenting. None of those things necessarily make an enormous difference. It will bring things to your awareness, but it comes from within, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you work in that space of hope.
Mm-hmm.
You work in a space of hope because we live in this world at the moment which is so binary, and there's a lot of we're not living in a world that sort of sees the world as hopeful. It's a bit scary. The social media has had such an extraordinary impact. We were discussing this at length last night. Like, where are the checks and balances of information? So in a branding world where you've got so many, where there is this world of social media which plays to whatever we want to see and all of those things, how do you counter some of that negative talk out there that seems to be, you're either with us or against us, or that sort of thinking?
Yeah. I'm always so, like, my husband I think the reason why we work well together because we're so opposites. He's Dutch, so he just sees things as they are, and he's has a bit more of that negative. It'll be the grumpy man. He was just saying, he's such a grumpy man, and he's like, yes, you are a grumpy man. He's hilarious. I love him, obviously.
Yes,
but I'm more of that optimist that is just like, no, it'll be fine. Never waste never was Churchill's quote.
Yeah, never waste a crisis.
Like I get, in some way, I almost get excited if there's like a crisis or something that is catastrophic, something happened. It's like, okay, that's okay. We can do something about this. We can create something. We can, whatever it is, I look at that as an opportunity to really change something and do something different. I think that's how I look at it.
Yeah. So you, I mean, you can feel the optimism and the positivity coming from you. I just love that. But in branding, what are the 3 marketing rules? Like, how do you brand things?
Yeah. So how do you brand things? So we've been thinking about these rules lately, and because our marketing and branding is we're trying to find out what our difference is. And there's an element about this beautiful blend of creating projects for businesses that impact their brand. But essentially, it all comes down to, number one, is looking great and being intentional in everything you're doing. I think that's really, really important, that you're just showing up and you're looking the part, because you have created something fantastic. You need to look the part and do it, and you are professional. Everyone listening to this podcast are professional of some sort, whether it be of their own, of a company, their team, or whatever. Just look the part, be intentional. And when I say look great as well, like that could be down if you're, giving a presentation to your team, like making sure your presentation, the PowerPoint or the Canva document looks sleek and it's engaging and it's getting people enthusiastic about, what you're about to deliver. So that's, number one is just looking great and being intentional. And number 2 is about being real and useful. And that's, a lot of that can come out through, the content that you're delivering and sharing. Okay, obviously this podcast is so incredibly valuable for your listeners. There's so much of your time that goes into organizing these podcasts, and this is, in a result, becomes such a wonderful, beautiful marketing asset for the Huddle. And it's I think that's just absolutely wonderful when we can give value in our own, about what we do in our own knowledge. That becomes really fantastic. And again, that's a big way to build that trust.
Yes.
And the third one is shouting out and not hiding behind that role. Bringing the two, like, you're looking great, you're sounding great, you've got all this wonderful content you want to share, and let's just share it out with the world.
Yes.
And that's, I see a lot of the time, a lot of leaders, they'll be hiding behind or something. They're almost like a bit too, maybe it's imposter syndrome or whatever it may be. They might have a bit of a perfectionist, and they're therefore a bit too afraid to showcase and let it all out. So I get to say that again. It's looking great, being intentional, being real, being useful, and shouting out and being proud of what you do.
Fantastic. So tell me more about your team. You have a small team, but I'm always intrigued about how we work with our team, and trust. Trust is something that I talk about a lot, about delegation and trusting people, because from where I sit, trust is what people want more than anything. They want to be trusted to do the job. Can you tell me more about how your team works and how you delegate and get the best out of your team?
Yeah. So there's only 4 of us in the team, and so my husband, obviously one of them. The other 2 girls, amazing, Caroline and Mo, they have both started with us as interns. Yeah. And just wonderful, wonderful humans, and now full-timers. But we adapted something at Muleco called the 4-day working week.
Wow.
And we love the 4-day working week. I think because we're so small, we have this opportunity to set the rules right from the start. And the 4-day working week, they're Mondays. They don't work Mondays. They use those days as creative and wellbeing days, right, where they can do whatever they like.
Yeah.
So Mo, for example, she has these dreams to open up her own ice cream shop one day. And so she'll use those days to learn about how to run a business, research how to make the best ice cream. And so she's quite open and transparent that is her goal one day. So know that she won't be with Muleco forever, and that's okay because they're not expected to. No employee is expected to stay with you forever, as much as sometimes you would love them to because they're just amazing. And then Caroline uses her Monday. She loves running, loves the beach. So she'll do that for more of that well-being day. She's an incredible illustrator. So the Fringe poster competitions coming up. So we've really been encouraging her to enter that and, spend some time on her own, building her own portfolio and illustration work that maybe some clients, she's not able to be as creative in her illustrative as she could be. Yeah, but then they know that in return that we've got deadlines and we've got clients that we need to make sure that they're happy, and they always make sure that they do the hours. Sometimes they might be required to work on a Saturday night at an event that we're shooting and photographing for, and that's okay. Like they're always there for us when we need them. And so I think that level of we just having that 4-day working week has really opened up that we understand that you have a life and a goals outside of Muleco, and we want to help support you with that.
Yeah. And do you have any rules around it? Like, are there any productivity rules or anything else around that?
Not necessarily. It's a flexible working agreement. And so we say, look, if there are some tight deadlines that we need to meet, we might need to work a little bit later one night and we can just get some pizzas in and cover dinners. Or, they might have their Monday, they might look, actually really, really need to finish this. I've got some other ideas I want to do. So I'm going to spend my Monday working from home to work on these extra designs or something. But there's no I think the only expectations are we just want to make sure our clients are receiving quality work at a timeline that we said we'd deliver. So that's it really.
So it sounds to me like it's relaxed and it's not formal and it's not like being measured and you owe me or anything like that.
Definitely not. No, we don't have KP. I mean, we're small, but we don't. But even like the previous organisation that I worked with, I know my manager, my CEO, we had no KPIs or anything like that as well. And she was an amazing boss. Like she had full trust in what we were doing, and was never ever micromanaged, never checked in like on that nitpicky level. She's just wonderful. And I was there for about 6-7 years, I think, with that organisation, and really, really, really appreciated her as a leader.
Yeah, no. It's really interesting because I work for a number of organisations where money can be the driving force, and they lose sight of their purpose. And you work in not-for-profit and all of those things. So if money's the only driver, it's a bit of a problem in that space. But I also do think that when we have heart-led, it's much easier to be generous. And so just dealing with a client where if you hit target, we're going to have a pizza lunch. And it's like, that's lovely, but it doesn't really feel like it's about the person who's providing the work. It just feels like it's about, congratulations, we hit the dollar target. And the dollar target's important. Don't get me wrong. I recognize that without money, we can't make the business go round, but I don't think any business exists, well, I hope not, to just make money. The purpose of business is also to create something to make the world a better place, I would hope, in most of the time. I'm not right 100% of the time. There are people who just exist for money.
But that's like the Mosey's hierarchy of needs. I think number one is this purpose in life. Like we want this deep purpose in our life.
Yes. And I'd also, when I have conversations with people and they say, but my staff just want to make money, they come to work to make money and then they go home again. It's like, I'm thinking that's an assumption about intention that fits with your narrative, but isn't necessarily true either. I don't know. You've worked in spaces which are so people focused, doing good deeds, and so there's a driver there that's very, very different. To making money.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of organizations, wherever you work, everyone's adding value and purpose. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be in the for purpose sector. You could be working for an electricity company.
Absolutely.
But we all need electricity.
We do. We all need. That's exactly right. There's a contribution that's being made by everybody all the time, and I think people love to play. I think they like to go to work to play, to use their skills, and when we see that and when we value it, you get much better outcomes along the way. Yeah, I love the work that you do because it is so purposeful. You live your values.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing.
Yeah, it's really fun. When I moved back to Adelaide, like I was so like, right, okay, I'm going to start my next startup, and it's going to be the healing hub or the healing house. I'm going to create these retreats to get people together and, you know, improve their life. At some point, I kept creating all these business identities and websites for all these business ideas that I had, but none of them took off. But then when I realized that, you know, I just love creating this whole feeling of bringing a vision to life through visuals.
Yeah.
For purpose sake, like I just love that. And I'll never forget, my brother was the one that I helped, but he's got a charity, 25 Stay Alive, a early detection cancer awareness movement. We did the original logos and stuff like back in the day, and he said, wow, I really feel like you've brought my vision to life. Like you really have. Like all of a sudden it was all systems go.
Yeah.
And away he was in the advertiser this morning. Actually, he's doing very, very well. But anyway, I think that whole vision to life, and especially when you can see that sparkle in someone's eyes when they're so wanting to change lives or improve things, and to know that contributed to that, is awesome. I love.
And telling a story.
Telling
a story. We love story. Our brain loves story.
Yeah, we do.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for this, Millie. I love this. And I love you're inspirational, and I love your San Francisco story. And I also want to know, you still in touch with Jay?
Oh my goodness. So I caught up with him before, this was in London times. Like just before he moved to New York, we caught up in London, had a coffee, got a photo together. And then messaged him when he was doing a show in the Netherlands at some point. But then I completely chickened out. I was like, whoa, this guy's way too famous. Who am I? And it was like, I just stopped contacting him. Like, he's now friends with Oprah Winfrey. Why would he ever want to speak to me? But we're still connected on LinkedIn. He's the first connection on LinkedIn. Sorry.
That's all good.
Dog. I don't know. I'm too scared to. I think when he came and did his Australian tour, I said, yay, you're in Australia, have a good one. And then it was like, crickets, but that's fine.
He's probably just busy.
Just a busy guy.
He's a busy guy. It is. Yeah. Imposter syndrome. It's a shocker, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. It's like, you know, he probably thinks he's very ordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in his mind, he's ordinary. He's just this famous person who does beautiful things. So, yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate. That was fun.
Cheers.
All right. Bye.
Bye.